actually very curious. I'm very curious what tea is. Where did tea actually come from? Where did tea originate? Why is it so prevalent in anime or manga? Heck, why is it so prevalent in Japanese culture? Well, this is actually something I've wanted to share for a very long time and something very personal. So, if you can bear with me, this is gonna take long, but you are gonna learn something from this. So, yeah, let's talk tea. I didn't think I would actually talk about tea in this channel, but here we go. So, tea. Where did it originate? Some scholars believe that actually started 5,000 years ago, approximately maybe 2737 BC by an emperor named Neng Shin or Xing Neng. So it actually started as this sort of beneficial drink or beneficial herb that had this healing capabilities that can heal illness and sickness and etc. Now, because it's Chinese, you might think that the start of trading between Chinese and the British started there. No, it actually started in India. So the tea of India is very different from the tea of the Chinese. Sorry, the Chinese. The tea of Chinese are very separate, and the tea of India are very, very special. So the reason Britain is so inclined with tea is, it all started in India. Now in India, this is where Britain tea actually started. Now this is during the 1500s or such, or maybe I think it's the 1700s. Now during this time, it was the expedition period. So this is the age wherein trading was a thing. Trading all over the world was the thing, and countries like Great Britain and even Spain, Portugal went around the world to trade with other countries. And India had a lot of specialties. Actually, it's called Spice Islands, if I remember correctly. But if it's not, it's probably not. But yeah, India is where all the spices are at. And back in the 1700s, back in the 1600s. Spices were all the rage. If you had spices, then you were pretty much the richest person in the world. So, that's where it all started, India. Now, in India, that's where, Great Britain kind of colonized India. And yeah, the trading started from there. And from there, they gathered tea. And when they brought it to Great Britain, it became a big thing. Yes, a lot of shops started to show up throughout Europe. So it started in England, but throughout Europe, it just became a thing. Tea just became a thing. And now there are 1,500 different teas. 1,500 different teas. So yeah, that's a really big thing. If it weren't for the British trading with the Indians, then, I don't know, Great Britain wouldn't be so tea lavish as we call it right now. Now, what does that have to do with Japanese tea? We'll get to that. Now, that's the western side of things. Now, if you look at the eastern side of things, we will see a totally different thing. Now, Chinese tea is very prevalent, and because of that, it spread all over Asia. Not really a lot of things to talk about, because Asia was already a trading company. It was already the age of trades, even before the Europeans came in. So because of that, tea it wasn't really very special. It was pretty much found anywhere. So that's why during the Chinese occupation, not really Chinese occupation, they just kind of traded all over Asia. So one of the countries that they traded with was Japan. And this was it's a very special thing, because Chinese tea and Japanese tea are very, very different. Like, very, very different. Yes, they both have medicinal benefits, but the color and the taste are very, very different. Now, Japanese tea, now that they have adopted Chinese tea, Japanese people kind of made their own version of tea And you can actually see this in other Asian countries. You can see it in Thailand, you can see it in whatever. They have their own different versions of teas. So the Japanese made their own version of tea, and it's green tea or matcha. Tea is actually something very important to Japanese, so much so that they created a tea ceremony. It is a tradition of the Japanese people, and it has been spread throughout history. Not really throughout history, but yeah, pretty much everyone knows tea ceremony. And tea ceremony is kind of a norm, not really a norm. What do you call this? It's a part of culture. It's part of their tradition. So the same with sumo or say what else? Sumo. All I can think of is sumo right now, or maybe even archery. It's the same thing there. I can say the same with perhaps flower arrangement, but that started in Buddhism. But in essence, they're pretty much the same thing. They are part of Japanese culture, and yeah, Japanese actually use that. And probably calligraphy. Yeah, that one. It's the same length as calligraphy and ikebana. So yeah, tea ceremony is a really big deal, and I'm glad actually that it is because yeah, I'm gonna go personal because this is a cafe and everything. I actually studied tea ceremony for a year when I was in Japan, and it was one of the most exhilarating experiences I have ever had. Now, I was actually just expecting, you drink tea and then you leave. No, that's not how tea ceremony works. Tea ceremony, in a way, is the way of the Japanese. I don't know how to explain it. It's a culmination of Japanese not really history, Japanese culture, Japanese traditions, etc. I'm gonna explain this even further then. So let's start with why that is. Now, when you do tea ceremony, you don't just drink and then leave. No, there are certain rules you have to follow. There are certain norms. For example, when you do tea ceremony, it's not just anywhere. You have to, usually the room that you're gonna have tea ceremony with, it has a tatami mat and it has scroll. I forgot. It's written in calligraphy. I forgot what it's called already. But yeah, it has to have that, and of course you have to have ikebana or the flower arrangement. That's very important in the setting for the tea ceremony. Now everything has to be perfect but for that. Now, when you enter, there is a certain practice that you have to put in. So when you enter, make sure that you use your where is it? Left hand, right hand? Your left hand to open the door, and then you bow. When you bow, make sure that you have to make sure that your feet is left under right. Yeah, left under right. Feet is left under right, and then you kind of have to not kneel, but put your what do you call this? You have to put your knee, your thighs. Pretty much, you put your whole legs on the floor, and then just and proper posture as well, and then you bow. And the bowing is also very specific. You cannot just bow whatever you want. You have to. There's like a certain degree of bowing, and if you bow too low, it's kind of too respectful, and if you bow too high, it's not really a bow. And yeah, that's one of the practices that you learn in just tea ceremony, and that's just entering the room. There's so much more. I'll try to share as much as I can. So once you enter, another thing you have to remember is when you walk inside the room, you cannot step on the corners. Stepping on the corners is seen as bad luck. Sometimes not even bad luck. Sometimes it's just very rude, I guess. I don't know why. I forgot the reason why. But basically, you cannot step on the corners. Once you do you don't step on the corners, you go around and you look at the positions. Now, what's important here is the first person to enter should be near the, what do you call this? The first person to enter should be the person near the ikebana, or the ikebana or the calligraphy scroll. You should be the person nearest there. After that, the next person comes in, and then he should sit second nearest to the ikebana. And yeah, And after that, you're not done yet. Just when you sit down, you greet the person beside you. I think it's your no, it's not よろしくお願いします。どうぞ召し上がれ。どうぞ。いやいやいや、違います。what did he say again? 一緒させていただきます。Yeah, that one. 一緒させていただきます。And you say that to the the person beside you, and also the next person that's going to sit beside you later. And yeah, it's going. There's a lot of other things as well. So once that everyone's ready, everyone's prepared, everyone's greeted each other, that's when the chawang or the tea bowl is introduced. So before it's actually introduced, I think you are given the chawan, and when you are given the chawan or the tea bowl, you are asked to investigate the tea bowl, and you're supposed to show the, what do you call this, the painting or the design of the chawan or the bowl in front. You cannot show it at the back, you cannot show it at the side. It has to be in front. So when you drink it, you always have to present it in front and not at the back. There's a lot of tradition going on. Even simple things like that, you have to consider, because it is something very important to their tradition. And if you mess it up, well, it's kind of embarrassing. After that, after you've received a bowl, you are asked. Sometimes there's two ways of doing this. So you are either the one mixing your own green tea, or the tea master will mix it for you. But most occasions you have to make the tea for yourself. Then after that, after you have the tea, there is a proper way again of holding the tea and then putting it in your mouth. Now, when you hold the tea, you hold it with your right hand and then you support it with your left hand. Once you hold it with your left hand, you raise your left hand, not your body, but your left hand. And that's when you drink. But before you drink, you have to do another greeting. It's a norm again. So another greeting that they say is omeshiagare, or there's a longer term. It's not omeshiagare. And then after that, you drink. And then you have to drink it. Usually it's three sips. After 3 sips, you're done. So you drink it and then you put it back, and then drink it, put it back, drink it, and put it back. And then once you're done, there is this thing that they do, which they say it's part of being precise when drinking tea. There is also a very precise way of drinking tea. Now, when you drink tea, when the last drip, you say, or I can't actually do it, but yeah, you say that, or you make that kind of sound to indicate that you have finished everything in the tea. Now, I don't know why you do that. I don't know why they think it's precise, but I guess it's precise according to our masters. So yeah, after that, you put it in the bowl, and then you thank them again. And then after that, you will be given treats. Now, in order for you to eat sweets, before you eat sweets, actually, you're supposed to have a piece of paper. I forgot the name of the piece of paper, but you're supposed to have a piece of paper. I have it here. I just forgot what it's called. But yeah, anyway, you're supposed to have that piece of paper, and when you have that piece of paper, that's where you eat. You don't just grab it with your hands. No, that's where you eat. They put the food in there, and then that's where you eat. And the way you eat it is with this like small bamboo knife thing, and that's what you eat it with. So you cut, for example, let's see, manji. Manji is very popular snack for tea ceremony. So yeah, you cut the manji, and then you poke it, and then you eat it. That's how you eat it. And then usually it takes like 3 slices or 4 slices to finish the whole thing. Then after that, after you eat the whole thing, you use the paper's corners to clean the knife, or the wooden knife that you used. So you clean it, and then you fold it, and then you put it in your it's not sensitive. I'm gonna talk about sensu later, but it's not sensu. But yeah, you have to put it back in the bag. A very specific bag used for tea ceremony. You can't just use any other bag when you use tea ceremony. A lot of traditions, a lot of practices, and there's just so many things that you can learn from tea ceremony, and I wish that a lot of people actually experienced it. I was so lucky to experience it for a whole year. Our master was so nice. Our tea master was so nice. I learned a lot of things. I ate a lot of things. I drank a lot of things. There were different kinds of teas. Where you should also study the different kinds of teas, by the way, because yeah, it's just a lot of things. Tea ceremony isn't just like drinking tea and then going around. No, tea ceremony is literally Japanese culture. So if you really want to learn Japanese culture, then this is where you learn. Of course, you can also learn through ikebana or shodo or calligraphy, as they say in English. But yeah, if I were to recommend anything, if you're like a lazy bum who just wants to eat and drink, but also want to learn Japanese culture at the same time, then tea ceremony is definitely for you. And I can see why it's so prevalent in anime as well. I mean, tea is just everywhere. You can buy tea in convenience stores, you can buy it in supermarkets. It's readily available everywhere. And yeah, I can't believe that it's so popular. Like, tea is so popular. Not only is it herbal medicine, but remember, we also have boba tea, we have milk tea. And where do you think that came from? Tea. So yeah, tea is pretty much taking over the world by storm. Not only in the West, but also in the East, as shown in anime, manga, and other forms of Japanese media. And yeah, I hope I shared some stuff with you guys. Yeah, in this cafe. That's basically tea. And yeah, I hope you guys learn a lot of things about this tea. And I hope you guys order more. And if you guys have any orders, you can just put them in the comment section below. But anyway, this has been Vanilla Cafe. Not the flavor, but just sweet.